Now from Atlanta News First Plus, this is Sports Tonight.
Hello and welcome into ANF Plus Sports Tonight. I'm Ellie Parker here with Connor Hines.
Ellie, how you doing?
I'm doing all right.
Good. All right is all right.
All right is all right. Let's go with that.
Yep. Well, it's a good week to be all right because it's a busy week around here.
I'd say it's a good week to be all right. Whoa, with Texas coming into Atlanta.
Was that an endorsement of the Longhorns?
No.
Okay.
It's an endorsement of the movie Dazed and Confused, which is one of the best movies ever made, but that's an argument for another time.
I don't think there's much of an argument there. I'm gonna have to agree with you. There will be no concession. There will be no argument from me. It is a big week, Ellie. We obviously have the SEC Championship this Saturday, 4 o'clock, inside Mercedes-Benz Stadium, otherwise known as Athens West. And that is where the Georgia Bulldogs will yet again be playing their fourth straight SEC championship.
Fourth straight SEC championship. Third game in the Benz this season. As you said, Athens West.
We'll see. I think Texas is going to travel because it's a fan base that does, but it is not going to be anything like last year's SEC championship, which I think, Ellie, could have been, if not 50, there were a lot of Alabama fans in that building. There were a lot of Alabama fans in that building, and you could hear them last year in that game. So, look, I mean, I think it's going to be a good Texas following, but it won't be like it was last year, which I think.
And now, granted, this is Texas's first year.
Yeah.
In the SEC, they are one of 3 teams playing for conference titles.
And I can tell you,
conference.
The local Austin media folks are excited about it. I know more than a couple people who are traveling to this game from Austin because, I mean, I don't think a team has ever made the conference championship game in its first year.
Nope,
as a part of the conference.
This is the first year it's happened, and it's happened 3 times. You have Texas in the SEC, you have SMU in the ACC, and you have Arizona State in the Big 12.
How about that? Not necessarily a surprise in all those cases because you knew those conferences were adding so many good programs, but even then, I mean, impressive to see what Steve Sarkisian's done. And now the question remains, Ellie, can you beat the team twice? It's hard to do.
Beat them twice.
It's hard
Possibly
to do.
3 times.
It's hard to do. But I think Georgia's up for the task. So is Kirby Smart, apparently.
Yeah, let's go to Kirby Smart, who talked to the media today about the upcoming game.
Yep, we're on to Texas. Got started on these guys yesterday. Obviously, we had the teleconference, I guess, so you guys know that already. Sark's done an unbelievable job. First year in our conference. I don't know why I feel like they've been in the conference forever because of them playing in the playoffs last year, and they had the series with Alabama. So, you've seen them on tape, and their team is built like an SEC team. He's done a tremendous job. Their defense is one of the best in the country. They've got explosive skill players. Did a tremendous job in the portal. Quarterbacks playing at a high level, and they've replaced a big group of backs who the backs they've got are doing a great job. So all in all, should be an exciting, challenging SEC championship.
Yeah, Coach, in what ways do you think your football team's gotten better since that first matchup with those guys? And same question to Texas. What areas have they improved since you guys have faced?
I don't know how to answer that. It doesn't seem like that long ago that we played them. I guess it was mid-October or so, that we played those guys. And, there are areas that we have played better in and then areas that we haven't. And it's almost gone both ways in terms of we've had games we played better in certain areas and then games we didn't play better in certain areas. We offensively, we didn't run the ball real well against these guys. We kind of succeeded off of their mistakes, their turnovers, and we scored points off of their turnovers. But we've played well offensively at times since, and we've played well defensively at times since, but we've also not put a complete game together, and that's probably what we're trying to do best now, is play our best when our best is needed. As far as them, they've improved in a lot of ways. I think defensively they've been at a high level the entire year. That's not, I think offensively they've run the ball. They've committed to running the ball, being really physical. They've had 30 and 40 carries, runs in several games, and a commitment to that and a physicality, while also being able to throw the ball really efficiently. They've got the weapons to do both.
Coach, I know you see it in the NFL, all the time, but what are the biggest challenges of playing a team for the second time in a year?
They're the same challenges they were the first time you played them. I'm a big, guy that statistics and philosophies and things like that. I mean, in the NFL, you play everybody in your division twice, and then you might meet up with them again in the playoffs. So, when you flip a coin, there's no greater chance that it's heads or tails the second time you flip it. And I'm not comparing our game to a coin flip. I'm just saying that the previous matchup does not determine this matchup. You can't overstate that to your players, because the flow of that game was different in the first 3, 4, 5 drives, and then after a turnover, it went the other way a little bit, and then momentum swung throughout that game, and momentum is going to swing throughout this game. It's just the way these games are. It's more about who executes well, who tackles well, who doesn't turn the ball over, and who has explosive plays. That's what it comes down to every game.
Kirby, how did you feel like your defensive line played against Georgia Tech without Christian Miller, and just what is the challenge that defensive line is going to be up against with Texas' offensive line?
Yeah, I actually was very pleased with our defensive line against Georgia Tech. I thought we played blocks really well in a really tough situation. I mean, we had 16 second and longs. So if you told me before the game we were going to have them in second, 7+ 16 times, I would have thought that we did something really, really well. What we didn't do was play real well on a couple of the second longs and a couple of the third downs, which really cost us. But the defensive line, we played more players there. We had to go into the well and play some younger guys, and they struck blocks and did some good things. What was the second part of your question?
The challenge of facing Texas offensive line.
Yeah, it's a different kind of challenge. They're massive, extremely physical. The Georgia Tech challenge was very different because it was like playing Wildcat quarterback, and they're both definitely challenges. But these guys have a lot of weapons around the quarterback, and they use all of them well.
Kirby, I guess it goes without saying you prepare for both quarterbacks, but if you could comment on Arch Manning and his, I guess, maturity and maturing this season, and then secondly, Smile Munden, what kind of lift do you think he's provided for you guys since coming back?
Yeah, Smile's been great. I thought he played one of his best games in his career against Georgia Tech in terms of physicality and sticking his face in the fan and striking blockers. He's a really good athlete and really good space player, and he had a lot of tackle production, but he played really physical in his last game. And I think he's ascending right now in terms of his play speed, his instincts, his confidence, and that's great because we want him to finish strong in his career here. As far as Arch goes, he's what everybody thought he was. He's athletic, smart, thick, a great thrower. I mean, he can run their entire offense while at the same time creating design runs or off-schedule runs, and both are scary because design runs with him are tough to defend because you're having to defend the whole field, and then he's also an elite thrower and passer. I mean, he's a great player, and they brought him along the right way. He's gained confidence each and every week in the way he plays. He got to start some games. I mean, you couldn't write a better story for him in terms of development to be ready to go and be the starter.
Kirby, what has led to Cash Jones becoming an effective third down running back in the passing game particularly?
Experience. I mean, I think third down's a lot about what you've seen in your career. The biggest jump for a running back from high school to college is third down because you're asked to do a lot of things in third down, more than you are first and second. And Cash's experience with his years here, I mean, he's gone through 4 springs of third downs. He's gone through 4 camps of third downs. I mean, he's a tremendous athlete. He's one of the best hand-eye. He spent a year on the scout team as a receiver, guys. I mean, like there's clips of him running around out there against Kamari and Keely Ringo, like going one-on-one at receiver, and he's catching deep balls. So he's like a jack of all trades.
Kirby, the defense this year, when you look at the way it played against Texas, Clemson, second half Tennessee, Alabama, versus the way it's played, obviously, some other times, is it just confounding to you as a coach, or can you put your finger on anything, any reason for it?
No, I don't know that I can. I do know that when we execute well, we play well. We have great resiliency. But the trait that confounds you or bothers you is that when something goes wrong, like any explosive play or any penalty that extends a drive has almost been catastrophic. Like we can't stop anybody if that happens, and we have not overcome that well. What we have done is stop people when we've had to. Play well in the red area. For a while there, we played really well at third down, but you can't put a finger on exactly what it was. If I could do that, then we'd certainly put a stop to it. But we've played well at times, and we've tackled well at times, and then we haven't at times. We've had more injuries than we've ever had in terms of guys in and out, but we don't use that as an excuse around here.
Yeah, just have you seen Carson this season try and maintain consistency and not sort of ride that wave of emotion?
I don't really know how to answer that. I mean, I don't know how I've seen that because he hasn't. You know what I mean? Like, Carson's very consistent in his thought process, his makeup, his process. You have to judge whether he's consistent on the field because I think he has been. I think people judge it on stats. They don't judge it on what we see, the day in, day out process oriented of what he's going through and what he's doing for the offense has been very consistent.
What did you see from Roderick Robinson, his return to the lineup on Saturday night, and is there any update you can share on Branson Robinson and his progress?
Yeah, we're hopeful to get Branson back and bring him back at the speed that he's comfortable with and that he feels comfortable with. I thought Rod, I don't know how many snaps he played, 25, 28 snaps, something like that. For a guy that had not played tackle football in a long time, he got his first live action back, and he's still gaining confidence. He's still getting his play speed back. You can't replicate what he did in the game in practice. We tried to. He got good reps during the week. I thought he did a great job in pass pro, an area that he's taken pride in, 2-minute catching the ball. He's just got to get back comfortable carrying the ball, running the ball, doing those things, and he's certainly very talented, and we hope that the longer he's coming back, the more he gets back to 100%. I mean, you can't just jump back out there and be 100%.
All right, Saturday, 4 p.m.
I was mid-yawn.
Oh, we're human. We're human.
You know what they say about a guy that wears a camouflage hoodie? He's ready for war. Does that not look like a man ready for war this Saturday?
That looks like a man ready to go hunting.
Yeah, or that.
To me.
Go hunting some Longhorns? I don't think you can do that.
Oh, God.
Yeah, Elliot, it's going to be a big one. The biggest one yet, probably.
Mm-hmm.
Even though, which is kind of strange to say because as long as Georgia doesn't get blown out, you got to figure they're in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
As I run and
it would have to be an Ohio State, Wisconsin sort of situation for Georgia to fall out completely.
Yeah.
And I really don't think that's happening, although I've been wrong before on that front.
So what do you think about these latest rankings? Because I think Miami fans, I think so. I don't know if any of you out there saw Ole Miss head coach Lane Kiffin literally tweeting at the college football playoff, basically saying, "What gives, guys? Why is Miami ranked ahead of us?"
Lane Kiffin is also a top-tier poster, if you don't know.
100%. So for those that aren't familiar with the latest rankings, you have Georgia at 5, Ohio State 6, Tennessee 7, SMU 8, Indiana 9, Boise State 10, and then it gets interesting. Alabama 11, Miami 12, Ole Miss 13, and of course we're talking about a top 12 here. Now, Ole Miss has one more loss than Miami does. I think Lane Kiffin has an argument in terms of the opponents they've played, but Ellie, I mean, Miami, for at least the time being, should be ahead of Ole Miss.
Why is Bama here?
It's ridiculous, man.
Why is Bama here? They shouldn't be. I mean, you can make the argument that Miami should be here. This is a very "what have you done for me lately" sport.
And here's the thing: it might not Lane's argument might not matter at all, because remember, if that fourth conference champion is from outside the current top 12, Arizona State, should they win the Big 12, Miami's not getting in either right now.
No.
So
currently, the bracket is Oregon, Texas, SMU, and Boise State with the byes. Tennessee would head to Columbus to face Ohio State. The winner of that game would go on to face Oregon. Arizona State would head to Happy Valley to face Penn State. The winner of that game would face Boise State. Indiana coming to Athens.
I don't think it's
Your
going to stay that way.
boys.
I don't think it's going to stay that way, because you got to figure Georgia either moves up or down.
True.
Right.
If they win the SEC championship, they get a bye.
And I don't think Indiana's moving. I mean, we're lucky to be at 10 right now, if you ask me.
The winner of that game would go on to face Texas.
Yeah.
And then you have Bama going to South Bend to face Notre Dame in the two teams Ellie hates the most bowl outside of Ohio State. But the winner of that game would face SMU.
Yeah.
Oregon and Boise State are on the same side of the bracket. SMU and Texas are on the same side of the bracket.
I think the only real shock factor with these CFP rankings, which of course are the second to last CFP rankings, the last being next Tuesday after all the conference championship games have been played. I think the only real curveball here, Ellie, truly, is the Alabama-Miami Ole Miss situation, the 11, 12, 13. And I think as soon as Ole Miss lost to, who was that, LSU, it was a collective, okay, Ole Miss is out of the playoff, that'll do it. Now, a lot of crazy stuff has happened since then, but I don't think Miami's getting in. I think Alabama's lucky to get in, but someone's got to be lucky. In this 12-team playoff, somebody's got to be lucky, and it might just be the team that's least deserving of being lucky, because Alabama is Alabama.
I'm team screw it, just put Clemson in.
Yeah, right.
Screw it at this point.
Right. Isn't this funny how we thought all of our problems were going to be solved when we expanded to the 12-team playoff? No,
They said that when the BCS was created. We said that when the 14 playoff was created.
Yep.
No, it's always a new problem.
I know.
Expand it to 134. Just have the entire season.
Let's do the NCAA Division I basketball tournament.
Or just have it be, a Swiss-style bracket where you don't know where you're going next every week.
Right, exactly.
And you just take... God.
Yep. Deep breaths,
everybody.
Deep breaths.
Because Georgia and Texas are not just fighting on the football field this weekend.
Yep.
They are fighting for the #1 recruiting class in the country for 2025.
That is right.
Longhorns leapfrogged the Bulldogs today, although remains to be seen. National Early Signing Day isn't really a day. It's a 3-day period. Today, tomorrow, and Friday as of recording.
And I think the biggest takeaway from that is, look, you expect Georgia to be at the top of, the recruiting table year after year, right?
Yep.
So if Texas can somehow leapfrog Georgia and that's kind of unprecedented in some ways. I mean, I think
But this is also Texas.
Kirby Smart,
That's a big
I
program.
saw a headline somewhere, don't quote me on this, I believe it's like the most flips they've ever gotten or something to that effect. So look, Kirby Smart's as great of a recruiter as he is anything else.
What has surprised me is Georgia Tech sliding in with the number 18 class in the country after flipping cornerback Tay Harris from Clemson. Number 2 in the ACC. It's the best recruiting class for the Yellow Jackets in quite some time, certainly under Brent Key.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's surprising, but then again, it's like, all right, how surprising is it when you look at what everything Brent Key is doing right now to
The man has been a great recruiter.
Yeah.
For the Yellow Jackets, and that's really been his stock in trade.
Mm-hmm.
Is recruiting. That's the thing he hangs his hat on, and really, that's how he is building this program. I know recruiting being how you build a program seems rather obvious, Deion Sanders aside, but he's been very good at it. Georgia Tech is not a program you expect to recruit well, and at least according to 24/7 Sports, their rankings, this class has the third and fourth best recruits in program history.
Yeah, yeah.
And so that's very impressive.
Yeah. No doubt. And, yeah, I mean, I think so many things about recruiting and signing day have changed, namely because it means nothing in terms of loyalty. I mean, you see kids decommitting and flipping all the time, but pen to paper, a little bit of a different story. So, we'll see what changes. Going to have a little more of a recap in sports coming up tonight at 11 on Atlanta News First on, not only UGA and Georgia Tech, but Georgia State and Del McGee and everything that he's trying to do to flip that program. So it's always an exciting day, if nothing else.
All right, let's move real quick to the Falcons. This team is a disaster. And we had Kirk Cousins talk about what can only be described as an unmitigated disaster of a game against the Chargers.
Good to get back out there. Had a good practice today, and finally had like a fall day, as I know to be a fall. I got a great test this week. A place that be a lot of noise, be great energy. It's a great defense. Statistically, they're ranked very highly in many categories. They're well coached. Be a great challenge for us, great opportunity. And I got to have a great week to get ready to go do that. And, that was what today was about. So, take any questions you have.
Yeah, Kurt, so how do you feel you're rebounding from that one as you all get back to work today?
Yeah, that's kind of the challenge always in pro football is being able to kind of get back up off the mat and get back up and going and try to put together a much stronger performance and get back on the right track as quickly as you can. And so, it's not the first time, unfortunately, that I'll have had to have done that, but certainly it's always something you're aware of in pro football that you got to do, and this week will be no different.
You mentioned an expectation for a lot of noise. Raheem says he didn't know whether to expect it to be hostile or supportive for your. What's your expectation for how you'll be greeted?
Yeah, they're great fans. They're great football fans, and I would think as a result they'll make it as hostile as they can for us. So it's a great fan base, and I believe the last time the Falcons played there, it was an empty stadium, probably, if I'm remembering right. So they didn't get to experience it then, but in 2019 they did, and it's a good fan base.
What's different about going back to a place and a team that you played with before?
Well, usually when you play on the road, you don't know too many people, and I think just the familiarity of having so many people, certainly a part of the organization, and also, people in the stands too that have had a big impact on your life, and you're very grateful for. So that's certainly a different dynamic, but I would think between the whistles, you're not thinking about that as much. You're just trying to go win a football game, and so I don't know that it is too different when you're playing, but certainly post game there'll be a lot of people to say hello to and thank.
Hey, Kirk, just considering this kind of how the last couple 3 weeks have gone, you feel due for a breakout game?
Hopefully, we got to get back on the right track, and the best thing we can do is get another game here. So I would love to play today, really, with how you want to get back out there and get this taste out of your mouth. So, that's what we're chasing for on Sunday is a much better outing, and they're not going to give it to us. I know that.
What are those emotions like, kind of going back to where you played for so long, and do you allow yourself to even feel that this week?
I don't know. I think you just kind of go through the week, go through your process. you understand, it's like a familiar place, but at the same time, it's happened when I played in Washington for the first time back. I had no idea where the away locker room was. I had never been in there. So in that sense, I'd been to the Washington Stadium many, many, many times, but had never been to it in that way. Kind of felt like a rookie in that sense. So that'll have that same feeling, I assume, on Sunday, where it's, okay, I've been here many times, but in this way, this is the first. So there's certainly some unique experiences there, but at the end of the day, you're there to go play a football game and go play your best and win, and that's where your focus is ultimately.
You're a fan of a good sports movie, kind of the comeback story. You're sort of weak here, coming off the game you're coming into, going back to Minnesota. There are a lot of those elements. Being inside the story, can you see that from your perspective? Do you sense that part of it?
Well, I guess now that you say it, it'd be fun. It'd be great. It would be great. But my journey's been all over the map. When I broke my ankle my junior year of high school, I didn't think I'd ever get to play in college. And so every time I come in here and I'm still talking to you all, it's always kind of I guess beat the odds there. And then, college as well. Just never even thought I'd be able to be a pro quarterback. And then when I was a fourth-round pick, I thought I was a dead end to go to Washington. So there's just so many times where I've gone through my journey. I got benched my third year. So many times we got down in my fourth year. I had thrown more picks than interceptions, and it was pretty clear if we didn't win that game, I was gonna be benched probably for a long time. And we're down 24-0, and ended up coming back and winning the game. And so it's just kind of been a deal where this league and football and my journey is, it always kicks you down, and you got to find a way to get back up. And find myself there again. I wish I would say it. I don't. I wish I could say I wasn't in that spot, but I find myself there again, and have to just believe that tough times don't last. Tough people do, and you just keep going and pushing. And at some point, they'll tell you that, hey, you're not going to get another chance. Your time is up in this league. But until then, I'm going to keep trying to pick myself up off the mat and get back to work.
I wonder if you see the way you approach things day to day, good or bad, we put it behind us.
All right, real quick, what's on your mind?
For all my golf nerds out there, Kevin Kisner is the new lead analyst for NBC Sports, and I think that is a great pick for a sport that really struggles to keep people interested. That guy can do it. They did like a little mancast style alternate broadcast.
I am not a golf nerd. These words mean nothing to me.
That's okay. That's okay. But there's a personality. There's a personality to that sport now, which it often lacks. So I thought that was a little out of the box and interesting to see the former PGA pro now on NBC Sports golf coverage this coming season. What you got, Ellie?
I'm interested to see what the bowl projections are
for
me
too.
All of these other schools that aren't playing in the conference
Namely
championship.
Georgia Tech.
Namely Georgia Tech. They're a really interesting team, and from what I've seen,
I've seen everything, Ellie.
I've seen a bunch of different bowls.
I've seen the Military Bowl. I've seen the Tony the Tiger Sun Bowl. I've seen the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
I have not seen the Duke's Mayo Bowl.
I did.
I have not seen that projection.
I did. It might have been a couple weeks ago, but even then, Georgia Tech could go to a lot of funny little bowl games. So that'll be interesting to see. We only have to wait until Sunday, right?
Yeah, wait until Sunday and see where a lot of teams are going to end their season. We have to end our show. For Connor Hines, I am Ellie Parker. Thank you so much for watching. This has been ANF Sports Tonight. Go watch some sports.